Hi, I'm Deepika Sharma, founder of DreamLadder.in and a child counselor. At DreamLadder, our purpose is to support the parental journey with right products, development key milestones, and counseling support. Our initiative, DreamLadder Talk Series Spa Parenting, is an effort to bring the best parenting practices from across the globe, which will bring out confidence, resilience, and help explore the true potential of every child. During this pandemic, I have been thinking on the aspect of building faith during these tough times. They say faith can move mountains. Today, we have one such story which will inspire us to build faith in ourselves as parents. Today, with us, we have Ruchi Goyal, who has joined us from Germany. Ruchi is the founder of Impaired but Empowered. She is an auditory verbal therapist and works closely with parents in the area of speech therapy and deafness. Ruchi is the mother of a lovely daughter named Prisha, who was born severely to profoundly deaf. With constant support, encouragement, and perseverance, today Prisha can speak as normally as any of us and has graduated today and is heading to grade 12, mainstreamed in an IB school in Germany. Ruchi, I welcome you. Thank you for joining us today. We are glad to have you with us.
Thank you, Deepika, for this conversation. I think it's so important, and I'm very, very grateful for you to be, doing what you are doing, because I think at the end of it, we are looking at mothers, the true stories that are around us. Because it's very easy to just talk about somebody has read somewhere in a book about certain things, but when you hear a story around you, from a mother, I think it touches the heart of the mother a lot more. So I'm very grateful that you're doing this, trying to spread awareness on, how a mother and in the educational field, how we can make a difference in the, lives of children. So thank you so very much. I'm very grateful for you to have me here on your platform.
Thank you. Thank you. Our pleasure is ours. To start with, Ruchi, we are looking forward to listen to your parenting journey as to how it all started.
Well, it's really, when I look back now, it's something that I look back with a smile. But at that moment, it was very tough. I have a son who's 7.5 years older to my daughter, and you never think that life would be. You just have babies. Okay, you had one child, and then you had desire another one. And I always wanted a daughter with dimples and curly hair. It's a mother's dream, and truly Prisha came like that. She was born with dimples, and I feel I manifested her. And I still remember I kissed her, and I felt looking at her so fulfilled as a mother. And I used to talk, and I always wanted that my children should have a beautiful bond. So my son used to write letters to her in a diary. I used to make him write letters to his unborn sibling. And when she was born, I was the happiest mom, singing and dancing. Yes, one boy, one girl. And, it's such a beautiful thing. And then suddenly at 7 months of age, we realized that, there's something missing. And then we found out that she is severe to profoundly deaf. And I still remember coming down from the audiologist. It was so heavy. I just felt there was a pit right in front of me, and I would just fall into it. Every step was like that. And then it was depression, crying. I just became silent. I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't sing. I lost my voice completely, because I just felt that all that I'm talking is actually falling on deaf ears. Then we had to look around for hearing aids. We found somebody in Pune itself who put on the hearing aids for her, not without a struggle, not without clarity. They just asked me to choose a hearing aid. For me, it's like choosing a computer. Which one do you buy? Which series? Oh my gosh, it's very technical.
Yeah.
So, but eventually my husband did a lot of research back then, 17 years ago. It wasn't, so easily available, all the details. We had to be dependent on a audiologist. Eventually my husband, being, an engineer, he thought it from that point of view, and we finalized a Siemens hearing aid. And then what was required was a speech therapy. And I just thought, okay, what is speech therapy? They will just tell me how to talk to her better, and that's it. And so we started going to the speech therapist from where we bought the hearing aids. And I knew something is missing. There is something that she's talking doesn't make sense. I thought I could talk much better because I brought up my son beautifully and we used to have long conversations. And he was such an amazing child, learned to sing. I used to perform on stage. So I couldn't believe that, this is what is going to make it happen. So we were one day at the audiologist and I saw one 17-year-old fighting with her mom, and she was talking so beautifully. And I told my husband, there is something about this child. Can you just find out? And I was sitting in depression, with my baby, oh God, with the audiologist, not having the best of facilities. And then we found out about Alka ma'am from the mother of this child. And she said, if you can manage this for 3 years, your life would change. And I said, what could be so difficult? So we contacted Alka ma'am and we got her to, call us home. I saw the children talking, and there started my very, very rigorous journey. I knew when I saw these children talking and having a conversation in Marathi. Initially, I was hesitant because it was in Marathi and I was looking for English. But then I realized her methods were so different and it made logical sense. She used everything that I had, my music, my interest in music, my interest in drama, my interest in talking and animated, faces that I used to make, the kind of conversations I would have with my child, the other child. So she, used the everyday language around me, the environment around me to have these conversations. So it was very, very tough initially because, she was very focus that whatever we talk with a child has to make a difference. So that 2 hour therapy that we did with Alka ma'am, I would come back home and practice all my waking hours and her waking hours. So the moment Prisha would wake up, we would put on the hearing aids. I would keep talking to her while I was putting the hearing aids. And there were these techniques that I used all day long. She was with me all the time, and everything that I saw around me, I used to speak to her. So naturally, initially, everybody was thinking I'm being too harsh, it's too much. It's like, but then there are those, 5 years are very important. The first 5 years as being an educator, you would know. It is that the brain is so plastic and you can mold them, give them a strong foundation. And that's what we were working on. Yeah. And just filling her with all the environmental sounds. I would go anywhere. I would be first talking about using the vocabulary that is going to be used there, then use it during that whole experience, then coming back and recalling, reusing the whole thing. So it was so tough. The first 6 years, I was literally living in pajamas and, tight bun, and because I knew this is it. And I had to take care of my son as well. So all that happened. And then I saw speech develop in the first year itself, because I was very, very pushy. And I did not take no for an answer. Once I knew that this is the way it is, I just kept using as much as I could. And fortunately, Prisha also, initially she's cry a lot because it's too much for the child. But then I started to include a lot of creativity, a lot of creativity around me, because my sister-in-law is an educationist, and she taught me a lot of techniques to work around it. So we use art as well as speech therapy. And, she turned out to be a child who was always looking for opportunities to be happy. And we grew. And with that, I started to think about documenting this journey, because I knew that these are very precious moments. After 10 years, I wouldn't remember it. And I used to write down my notes. The moment I would come back, I would write down these notes. I would have recordings. I would write them down. Put them, then that's when I thought of writing a blog, Impaired but Empowered. And I didn't know what to write initially. It's so funny. But then once I started sharing, I didn't look back. And since then, it's been like 16 years. We've been just talking nonstop. And we've been helping, as much as I can. I try and help out mothers, give them as much time as I can. But if I see that a mother is really driven, that's when I know that, I would drive, have the drive to go on and on, persisting with that mother. Our journey with, it's been very tough because we were in Pune for 6.5 years. The facilities were not as good. Then we moved to Germany. That's when we got really the good hearing aids where she could hear much better. Our audiologist in Pune, she messed up with her hearing. She was hearing at 60 dB and I had to scream and shout and talk. I used to make up for all that. When we came here, it was brought down to 20 dB, 15, 20 dB. And that's when, real speech development, a lot of her, talking started to happen. And then we've been to Indonesia where she was bullied. And then fortunately, we are back in Germany now where she's in grade 11. We've dealt with lots of ups and downs, unsupportive people around, a lot of school issues. But what I realized is because we stood up as a very strong, family together, I never let her fall down. I'm her 24/7 counselor, constantly changing her speech, trying to support her with positivity. When she's depressed, she knows that her mama is always around. So she would send a message, Mama, this happened. And I'm like, immediately I'm on top of it. Like leave everything else, but I know that it's important. So today, when I look back, when I see this journey, we've come a long way. We still have a long way to go. I do not believe in, just stopping. Okay, we've achieved this. Okay, finished. No, we just look at it with humbleness. We move forward with that as a, springboard. Okay, now next what more can we do? And these are the conversations which help Prisha also not to just be, having that head in the cloud or, living in a bubble that I have achieved it all and, I'm something. She's also very respectful, very, very, very humble, very motivated child, which I think is so important in today's world that,
Yes, I think the effort is always two-way. More than the parent, the child also has to accept the amount of pressure which is put on them.
Yes, but I think as a parent, see, I know there's a lot of pressure because being an IB student is not easy. It's a very difficult curriculum. But I always tell her that, life is always going to be hard. It can be harder if you don't work work to make it easy. So she also knows that, what are the consequences of giving up. So we have a lot of conversation and she sees like each time we stand up against something or we achieve something. And I always take her back to, we are celebrating, yes, but we are also looking at, see, Prisha, it's all because we never gave up or because we did it. Yeah. So, that connection, when it happens immediately, it's like, okay, now what? Now next what?
What next?
I have to work harder. Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. My next question to you, Ruchi, is how can early intervention be a differentiator in a child's development? So
I can't tell you how important early intervention is. How, matlab, I have given so many conversations in Indonesia. Actually, I started this going into, primary schools and, toddler schools. And these, because why it was in Montessori, nurseries, I started going there because I felt that I need to tell these teachers and educators and parents about the role of early intervention in my life. Through my story, I wanted to tell them that why it is so important that you have to tap on, those children's abilities and or disabilities in those years because they are with you. Now, in the first 5 years, the children, the children is born like a absolutely fresh canvas, a white canvas. Now they are, if you put a child is born in China, he speaks in Chinese. If he's born in India, if you bring a Chinese child to India, he's not going to speak Chinese, he's going to speak Indian. So basically, whatever you fill on that canvas, the child will do. So, and like, it's also no big deal. You have to understand that a doctor's child will have all these medicines on his fingertips. Musician's child will, pick up all the musical because they are surrounded in that atmosphere. So imagine the similar way, if you have a child who's left out in an absolutely blank room, okay? The parents could be high achievers. They are, doing whatever they have the house help, they have all the facilities. But if there is no environment of supporting the child with conversations, rich conversation, experiences of life, what's going to happen? The child is not going to speak or not going to be able to relate with anything, but would be blank. So in early intervention, if we actually put all that we have, observe, give a huge stimulus to the child's brain and fill them up with positivity or creativity, experiences, these children will have open minds. And that is a good time to know if your child has certain problems, or milestones are missing, or there's a disability or something, a challenge. And the moment you realize that and you tap on it, you can work on strategies to help the child.
Yes.
And so what happens is, instead of building up a negative, having a negative impact on them or forming wrong habits, they start to work because they have not seen anything else. They're seeing that, okay, this is it. Now I have to work this way. They just follow the mother or the caregiver.
Yes.
So the moment you start filling them up with all the therapies or, the required.
Yes, whatever is required at that point of time. You identify the problem and you provide a solution.
Yeah, and then you work on it, the child will never form wrong habits. Otherwise, what's happening is they have a disability, plus you're giving another handicap where they are so helpless, they're dependent on someone else.
Yes.
So for me, because the moment I'd be diagnosed it, the moment we put the hearing aids, the moment I knew the time was running, this speech therapist was not going to help me. I found Alka ma'am and just put my life and soul, because for me, it was the more I push, the broader foundation I'm making, the better it is for me. And today, if I'm reaping the benefit of it, I'm not surprised, because it gave us so much of foundation. We were giving our experiences of every kind, going to the shops, going to Dadi's house, Nani's house, music, mantra, or dramatics, be it anything. We were just talking about it. And so what happened, the child's mind was open to so many experiences and language associated with it. The child has to come out with it eventually.
Yes.
And that's what has happened. So I am such a stickler for early intervention. I can't tell you how important it is. And I feel in the first 5 years, the mother is very, very crucial. I often get asked, why not the father? Well, mother has a different bond. They have emotions attached. The way, and they are the primary caregivers. The first person who's there in the child's life is the mother. So what she can give, probably no other person can give that much, with that much of unconditional support, experiences, and the bond the mother-child have, no one else has. So it's very, very important that first 5 years, we have the child with the mother and we find out if there's a problem, work around it. Yes, cry, break down, 1 month, 2 months, but bas ho gaya. Now just get up and start working. That's it.
Yes.
So that's very, very crucial.
Yes, and this thing about 1 to 5 years is the clock is ticking every day. So the
every
child,
single day,
they don't develop at that point of time. There is a development lag which happens, and then covering up those milestones is really tough because they have something else to achieve once they are post 5 years. Yeah,
I have to tell you this last when this lockdown world over started, I even went out to various Facebook groups because I knew they would require somebody to help with speech therapy, and I got over 40 mothers worldwide reaching out for child, or my child has been diagnosed as mildly autistic. But the whole thing was because there was no foundation being developed at home. The mothers were busy with their laptops, they were busy with something else. The child was completely left around. Now, some of these mothers, they actually took me very seriously, and they actually worked like we were exchanging videos and phone calls and all this different time zones. But I just gave it because I knew this time is clicking. And now these children came to me when they were 2.5. Huge delay of speech, and we had to break down everything. The behavior was wrong, everything was wrong. But today, in 1 year's time, these children are actually going into school, they're talking, they are conversing. When I get these videos of children dancing and singing and conversing, I just say that the whole thing was because the mothers were not available. And so what happened was, there was this. Now, of course, there is going to be a delay which is going to take longer. Normally a 3-year-old child would be doing a lot more, but I keep telling the mother, but good, we started at 2.5. At least we are getting there. So we will achieve more. So it's very important. The first 1 year is very crucial, where you can diagnose and get to work. Do not forget that this time is clicking. Like you said, every day is important. Every day.
Yes, Ruchi, very true. The reason why we also started this initiative of Dream Ladder was to put all these key milestones in place so that people are keeping a constant check of what is required. When is the time that the red flag pops up, and when should you look for support? Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Going on to the next question, your suggestion for parents in general with differently able children, as to how would you prepare yourself in your child's journey in case you made out that there is some disability aspect in your child. Could you please throw some light on this?
Well, I can tell you through mine. The first thing that hits you is, oh my God, what do I do? It's a blank wall. Like, when a baby is born, a normal baby is born, you don't know what to do. You have to learn it through everyday life. No, but still there'll be Dadi ji, Nani, Kaki, Mausi, who will come and help you. Okay, do this and massage kar do, ye khila do. Now with a child who has a disability, it's completely a different story. Now you don't know. First, you have to find out what is the problem with the child. Then you have to start, prepare yourself, because you're not prepared for this. So you have to, the first jhatka of the mother is only too much. Like, the mother has to deal with it. Then the society is also, like, the family members could also be saying that this is not in my family. It was your family. Maybe it didn't come from our genes. So there's a lot of, bashing up in it can also happen.
It's a lonely journey post that, actually.
It is, because now suddenly you can't do away with this child, right? You can't do it. You are holding this child. Now you don't know how to communicate, or you don't know how to handle this child who's got any disability, for example. You have to start doing the research. You have to learn parenting all over again. Then you have to reach out for others who have had these journeys. And then the financial burden, because all these come with a big cost, because you go to any therapist, any world over. I mean, they're charging you for thousands and thousands of rupees, or, abroad dollars or euros, whichever currency. They're not cheap. And so, that it takes a toll on the family, because, the dynamics change. Sometimes they are not having even family support, because they are, saying, oh, this is not our problem. This is yours. Husband, wife, they can have so many conflicts. So what happens is, I feel what we did was, yes, I did break down. I did cry a lot. You curse God, you curse yourself, you curse the child, you want to kill yourself, you want to kill, yourself with the child. All that, it's normal. I feel it's very, very normal. It's a healthy way of getting it out of the system. First, you cry, one. Have some people who will help you listen through it genuinely. First of all, do not accept pity party. Because the moment, don't worry, God is there, he will take care. No, there is no God who will come in and give you this, booty that, please take this and your life will be sorted. No. Cry, break down, figure out what has to be done first. Diagnose your child. Arrange the finances that are required. Arrange for therapists that are required. Again, look at the finances. How can you do this at home? Because the way you can do it, no one else can do it. So be prepared for the first few years, at least first few years, depending on the disability, to be standing up as a family to support the child. Because I always believe in one thing: if you can't help your child, there is no one in the world who can help you better. So help this child better. So and I always tell this to my mothers, and the mothers always tell me that, ma'am, we always find this very relevant, that if I can't clean my shit, no one else can. So please help your child, because if you can't help your child, no one else can. You can identify, you are an adult. You can see good from bad, a good therapist from a bad therapist, who's minting money, who's not. So figure out ways, reach out today. Thank God we have social media. We can reach out to mentors, mom mentors, because I am one of those mom mentors. More than I'm not a qualified speech therapist, but through the learning, I can give challenge to any speech therapist in the world. Why? Because I've learned it on the job and I applied.
Yes.
So today we are so lucky. We have these mom mentors out there giving us this very, very, from their own experience, this pearls of wisdom. They can tell you what is there. They will understand. They'll hear you out. Half the time, your family members, oh God, again, she's come. She'll tell us the story about her, horrible life. I've seen it all. So, you sometimes hold all that pain inside, and it is a very lonely, sad, difficult journey. So you have to be emotionally, very, very strong, be ready for that. So as family, yes, there'll be fights. Husband, wife will definitely fight a lot more, because it's a way of the frustration is so high. There are people who I'm trying to milk you for with your finances, because of their own material gain, and we've gone through this, all that. So you are always looking at each other and bashing up, but at the end of it, then you have to look at your child, because who's suffering? That child is suffering. So get after it. I think for parents, they have to see, if you have a child with disabilities, do not waste time. Diagnose the child, arrange the finances, get the therapist, be on top of it. First 5, 6 years or 7 years, whatever number of years that are required, work very hard with the child, because the child also needs that very much. You will develop a stronger child. And what will happen is the child will learn to deal with this on their own. Like now, Prisha doesn't need me as much. All her IB studies she does by herself.
Yes.
Only
Parenting
thing
is all about empowering your child at the end of the day. They have to be independent on their own.
Absolutely. I always tell the mother, supposing something happens to you tomorrow, can you leave this child with someone else? No, you can't. So I always lived with that fear that tomorrow something happens, who can take care of Prisha? Will she be using sign language? Will somebody else do it? No, nobody will understand her. So she has to learn spoken language. She has to learn it so well that she can communicate. Somebody's abusing, somebody is, taking advantage of her. So she can stand up and say it. Otherwise, imagine a child with disabilities cannot help because they are not empowered enough. So today, if Prisha is standing up, it is because I worked those extra hours despite my depressions, lonely, feelings and, sadness. I have tried to, so many times, Deepika, I used to think I should just kill myself because, it was so hard. It's so hard, and mothers don't accept this also, that they're scared to accept that, yes, I want to kill myself. But I said, no, it's true, because you just feel that suffering is so much between you and your child that if you finish it, it's over and done with. But that's not the way you want to live, right? You don't want to quit so easily. So again, next day morning you start. So for mothers, it's very important to know that if you work first 5 years, as a team, things can change. Miracles happen. And today, if I'm standing on the other side of it seems easy. It's very difficult, but you can do it. If I could do it, you can also do it. And there are many success stories. You look at Facebook today, you reach out and you have all kinds of support. People are giving it for free because they know what it is like to be on the other side of the fence. Yeah. So I think this is my advice to any parent who's looking for support in any disability. It could be anything.
Thank you so much for that, Ruchi. And I'm sure that Prisha is strong because you are strong today. They always absorb things around them. They are trying to get that power from from the parents, especially, as to how much they believe in themselves, for the child to believe in themselves eventually. That's absolutely amazing. So lastly, the last question from us is, as a society and as an ecosystem, how should we accept and improve in nurturing a specially able child?
We are looking at success stories, okay, all the time. Yes. But what about how does success happen? Success just doesn't fall into your lap. It's an everyday, every moment process. Yes. And for children with disabilities, when it's a normal child, for them also the journey is so tough. Yeah. With no special needs, I still feel everybody has special needs. You could be like, I like my coffee with less sugar and more milk. That's also a special need.
Disability, yes.
It's a disability.
Can't do without its addiction. Yes.
So yeah, if I go to somebody's house, I like my water this way. So this, all of us have special needs, but people who do not have challenges in life, for them, life is so challenging. So imagine with these children who are born with so many disabilities, they have it much harder. So as a community, if we don't support them, who will? We have to ask ourselves, are we so mean that we can't, they have to adjust with everybody? Isn't it easy for us to adjust? How many, challenged people we will see around us? In my whole area that where I live in, maybe 2 or 3. So if I'm kind to them, accept them. Yes, Prisha could take time in hearing. She has missed out an instruction. Is it so hard for me to just repeat it for her? No, it isn't. If there's a person on wheelchair, is it not okay for them to just help them push that wheelchair? Isn't it that easy? We're talking about kindness. We're talking about, empathy and sympathy.
Compassion.
But
yes.
Are we doing it? No, we are so easy to judge them. So I feel as a community, we should be supportive. If you think that there is a person who has some disability or needs some help, reach out, give out, because when you give out kindness, it comes back multifold. I always believe, if today when I look back at my journey, there were so many moments I just kept, in my spare time, I would just keep talking. I would be cooking and I would be talking to a mother, giving her all the tips or, my notes and everything. But I was not expecting anything, not even like just a thank you or something that which everybody does. But I was not thinking that she's going to give me money or something, because I do this all for free. But, the universe is there giving it back to you. So if doors have opened for Prisha and us, it is because we have supported and we have the dua or blessings of so many. So I feel that, as a community, we have to accept them. We have to be kind. We have to be compassionate, be very patient, because I think they're not looking for pity. Trust me. I don't need pity for my daughter
that anybody should do to them. Pity and sympathy.
I just need an acceptance. I just need that, Prisha, wherever she goes, there are slight, small accommodations. Do that. And, we are building a better community then. We are having this, ripples of kindness around us. And you help one, the other one helps the other. Isn't that so difficult? So, this bullying would stop. We'll now today, if you think that why people are afraid to have disabled children, or we hear that mothers are discarding their children, or they are killing, so many of them kill them because they can't deal with it, because they know the community won't accept. And for them, the financial burden, the emotional pressure, the pressure, people telling them, oh, you must have done some bad karma or something, all that can add. So instead, what we just need is acceptance, and I think just be kind. That's all. And I think when they need help, just give your hand, because it doesn't take, don't go and, when we say, oh, I'm giving it to UNICEF, I'm giving it to this place, and I'm doing this much dan, punya, give it to this person, because, it's in your neighborhood. Charity begins at home. So in your neighborhood, maybe there is somebody who needs, give it, and you will see that, there's so much beauty around you itself. It brings a lot of joy in your life.
Yes, we are always striving for perfection, that we forget to see that nothing is perfect in today's world. We all Absolutely. Are disabled now, and now I think it's more of a time during the tough times, Corona times. We all are, supposed to be disabled. We are locked up Absolutely. In our houses. Thank you, Ruchi. Thank you so much. Today's discussion is an inspiration for all of us here. It is a story of faith and journey of impossible to the possible. We learned today that key milestones and early intervention are critical for the right development of the child. A strong resolve of a parent with their dedication and commitment can result in miracles, and it is possible. Thank you so much, Ruchi, for joining us today. I'm sure your journey and inspiration will inspire us in our parenting endeavors.
It was Thank you so much, Deepika. It was a pleasure to be here too. Thank you so much, and all the best for your future ventures.
Thank you.